Nervous times in Paris-Nice. Once again, would the wind play havoc with the peloton? Could anybody stop Tim Merlier? This is normally a crosswind stage. It doesn't have to blow very hard, and there usually is wind in this region in early spring. A flat stage to Bellegarde coming from the west of Paris, but in fact there was barely any wind today, like 5 kilometers an hour, and most of it was cross headwind as well. You're on tree watch for me, so it was a pretty relaxed day up until about 50 k's to go. Little trek, and Soudal Quickstep controlling the breakaway for their sprinters, Mads Pedersen and Tim Merlier. We had a breakaway of De Lertre, Fernandez and Jonas Abrahamsen, who you'll remember was in the breakaway in the Tour de France many times last year, but those windmills ain't moving, which would have been a relief for some of the other riders. So riders with 60 k's to go, like Alaphilippe saying ça va, catching up with people in the peloton, but the breakaway was coming back quickly. 27 seconds, they were already in sight, and we see that the shape of the peloton change. We see Ineos, Post-NL, Visma, UAE, Red Bull Bora start to get together because we're coming through villages. You can see like the road, you can't use all the road. Just to point out Guillaume Martin here, maybe he clips a pedal, maybe he just goes through some mud which has been dragged onto the road, or a wet patch. You can see there's sort of mud everywhere on half the road, and he crashes himself. Thankfully not too bad, but these sort of things can happen. A rider does that in front of you at 50, suddenly you're crashing very, very hard. So the nerves start to increase from about here, and all the GC teams are fighting for every corner, which you'll see in a second. They'd sprint, hold position, chill out, brake would get a bit more time, sprint again like this, 50 seconds the gap to the brake, and then they're sprinting out of it, and the gap would go down to 30 seconds. You see Campenaerts go through first wheel with Arkea on the inside, but they've lost Arnaud Demar, and just through this corner, the tree blocks exactly what happens, but I think Leroux clips his front wheel on the back of the EF Education Easy Post rider, and then he goes down in front of Seneschal. Seneschal breaks something. He had to be stretched off. Huge crash. Thankfully, there was all that grass on the side. A lot of the riders had an escape path, so in fact, it was mainly Leroux and Seneschal who were badly beaten up after this crash. But you see, Visma go through first, and the peloton just explodes behind them. But luckily, there was that. You see all the riders going off into the grass. So Merlier came back. He had to change bike, didn't crash. Thankfully, Demar did crash, but he was okay. Abrahamsen he went solo. Went to 1:30, 20 k's to go. They do one lap of the finish line, and there's 4 and 2 bonus seconds remaining. Abrahamsen takes the 6 seconds. And we're getting lead-outs from the GC riders. Red Bull Bora put Mick van Dijk to sprint to take the bonus seconds away from the other GC contenders for Vlasov and Lipovic. Jorgensen's getting the lead-out from Campenaerts. It's a bit of an uphill drag as well. So it suits Jorgensen, I'd say, who's got a decent sprint on him. Vingegaard going into the wheel of Jorgensen, maybe trying to nab a second or two, although there's only 2 spots available. And Van Dijk does his job, but Jorgensen's able to take 2 seconds as well on top of the 4 he took yesterday. So another crash into the barriers in that sprint, and then out of it, another crash in that right-hand corner. And this is why the GC teams are all in the front, because if you're caught behind, like Schjelmoser, like Ben O'Connor, like Joao Almeida we see here with Pollitt, if you're caught behind and things don't come back together, you can be losing time before even the TTT, before we even get to the mountains. And that's why Paris-Nice is such a tricky race. Echelons, rubbish on the road, mud, crashes, nervousness, road furniture. You got to be a complete GC rider and team, and you see which teams have missed it. Clearly, Movistar for Ivan Romeo, Decathlon for Felix Gall, and Pollitt's moving up on the right-hand side for Joao Almeida. I think Schjelmoser missed it as well, so 4 big favourites missed it. Luckily for them, you can see now the shape of the peloton in front are chilling. Ineos, Visma and co have taken position and then chill out, so that group comes back actually pretty quickly. 10 k's to go. It's still blocked up. The gap to Abrahamsen's not coming down. It's 35 seconds, but then the lead-outs to the 3Ks to go really puts paid to his gap, and he'd been out there all day. All the GC contenders dreaming of that 3K to go banner, and just under there is where they bring back Jonas Abrahamsen. So we're going to have a sprint. The Arkea B&B Hotels train actually looked very good. We're going to do train watch. Sorry, Francis Bourgeois. We got Arkea on the front, then to the left-hand side, Rebel Bora. Right is Total with Intermarché. Tudor for Alberto Dainese. Merlier's deep with Bert van Leeuwenberger. There's also Trek on the right-hand side, shading Tudor, but then the left side starts to go quicker, bringing up Govakar for Bahrain Victorious. I think an Oliveira brother launches here left. Demar's lead-out doesn't follow him, neither does Demar, and they ruin their sprint here, because then his lead-out leaves Demar in absolutely no man's land, and then Milano gets detached from his lead-out. The right starts to go quick. Bert van Leeuwenberger, again, he stretches it early. Use it or lose it. He doesn't wait for 400 to go. He goes now when he's at the front to stretch it so that Merlier can actually keep a wheel free on one side. And then 400 meters to go. Axel Zangle, the new recruit for Visma Lease Bike, says, Leroy Jenkins. He goes. He just sends it from 400. YOLO. Saw Merlier do it in UAE Tour. That was from, I think, 250. Was it advisable? No. Did it work? No. It was a strong sprint. Unfortunately for him, he had Merlier quickly in the wheel, and thus everybody showed in the overhead here. You see Demar quickly onto Zangler's wheel. Pedersen drags Merlier over. And watch the Intermarché rider Hugo Page. He gets relegated. He nearly chops Dainese into the barriers. He then swings back out and smashes into the Groupama rider. Nearly causes a massive crash at 65 kilometers an hour, swinging everywhere. So he was justifiably relegated. Merlier got the drag in from Pedersen and does the business, wins by over 2 bike lengths once again after Zangler sort of gave the Peloton a lead out. Genier coming in for second, his best World Tour result ever. Page relegated from third, so Pedersen does come third. Then Christoph Kielich, Zangler, Demar, Govakar and Jakobsen. 2 in 2 for Merlier. He's got to be happy. Here's what he had to say after the stage.
Tim, to win a stage on Paris-Nice is always special. To win it with that jersey on your shoulders, it makes it even more special?
This is one I'm going to remember, yeah, for sure.
Why? Because it was tough?
No, because I think it's the first time in my life, in my cycle career, I win in the leader jersey, or I don't remember anymore.
You were again impressive today. Can you explain that final kilometer and the great work of the Soudal Quick Step team again?
First of all, it was alone for our team to control the race, but then Trek started helping. It was a bit annoying because the breakaway was a bit playing with us, I think. Coming back, we gave him more again. And in the end, Abrahamson was really strong, stayed a long time in front. But the team did a really good job again.
It was a eventful day, not for the best reasons, because we had several crashes. You had a bit of a fright, but you didn't crash, huh?
Yeah, they crashed before me. It wasn't time to brake, but someone hit me from the back and my wheel was broken, so I need to change bike there.
Tomorrow time trial, trying to keep the jersey.
Of course we're gonna try, but it will be difficult, I think.
Tomorrow we have the team time trial. Really excited to watch it. Ineos, UAE, Visma, all wanting both the stage win and the GC time. And I'll see you with a recap of that tomorrow. Ciao.